the concept of refugee. I am spending some time in this book to talk about that refugees are a category rather than a social group. I am going to talk about that here again in terms of a methodological opportunity for my viewers. Oftentimes, it is my observation that categories are treated as social groups, and this happens in the policy level as well or in the writings. And this is a methodological problem that needs to be overcome, I think. Because while refugees are a category of people, there are categories of people. Women are being as women are a category. Students are a category. Refugees are a category, and so on and so forth. But when we are looking and treating them as a group, this would create a problem in terms of investigation, because group, by definition, are the people who have belongingness, commonalities, similar aims, purposes, that binds them together. Right? That's the sociological definition of a group. And Kaufman has a wonderful long paragraph of discussion of the category and group, which you can find in the book, or also refer to Kaufman if you can find it. What it says there is that, of course, when you are in the same category of people, right, there is a possibility for you more likely to be forming groups within that category, obviously. But that doesn't by itself make you a group. Refugees are a huge category, a big category, taking it from Turkey where we are doing the study. But there are a lot of refugees from different countries, from different parts of the world. And these groups of people who do not speak the same language, who do not have the same experience, who did not come for the same reasons, who did not have the same kinds of social segments that were fighting, are all refugees in Turkey. Their experiences are quite different, and they're not necessarily going to be identifying with each other. They're not necessarily going to have any kind of a same purpose. Syrians, in that sense, is the same way, right? In order for you to talk about Syrian refugee group, for example, if they have an association, which they do have, considerable number of them, if they have a neighborhood where they are interacting, where they have similar issues, the garbage being picked up, the hot water coming in, infrastructure issues that they have to deal with, that is going to be making you come together as a group of people to deal with it in a municipality level or whatever. And then if you are having a Syrian school, and there are parents who have children in that same school, then you are going to be having a group there. So you do really need to be understanding the differentiation. And in the policy level, for example, I do see a lot of Syrian refugee policy, and you are talking about considerably different sets of segments of Syrian refugees that have different needs, right? Urban working class, or people who do not have jobs but also no finances, are going to be having quite different needs than a middle to upper middle class Syrian who came from Syria with considerable of their money, can afford a housing in a good neighborhood and could find a job, and probably some of them are higher paying salary jobs because of the NGO market has been skyrocketed at that period. And their needs are, as refugees, are going to be quite different. They are going to have needs as refugees, but it's going to be quite different challenges that they're going to be facing. And then if the policy level doesn't see that, you are not going to be able to speak to these needs and answer the community's needs and requirements. And also the same goes with the local populations. we are talking about in a neighborhood that has higher income levels and there are serious, the engagement and interaction and the issues that's going to be emerging based on identity and language is going to be quite different than in the neighborhoods that are suffering from low employability, employment levels being quite low for both groups of people, because the engagement there and the tensions there is going to be quite different, of course. The reason that I'm actually focusing on that, this is also jumped into the title of this book, de-essentializing. So I'm not trying to be finding the ontological refugee self. I do not believe in that thing, because there is no such thing as an ontologically same, right, coming from the same root of everyone that we can sort of investigate. So I'm actually trying to de-essentialize them. And when we are talking about the refugees, the Syrian refugee is quite a problem, because this emerged in the field work as well. One of the most devastating things for the people were that when they were treated as a number, as a refugee, right? Because you are taking all of their unique characteristics, all of their personal differences, and sort of boxing them into with all of the other people that they have no identification with and treating them all the same. This creates quite an important problem for people's sense of self, which creates a lot of enduring problems within our communities that we do really need to be paying attention to overcome. I use this in my title, Becoming of Refugees. Why do I use the becoming is that there are also plenty of writings in the literature on this, but I will tell you my take on it. Being and becoming are quite different, right? Human beings born, grow up and get older and die, but there is no such point in life to being. We ask children, what are you going to be when you grow up? And then there are jokes a lot about, I haven't grown up, so I haven't decided what I'm going to be when I grow up. It actually tries to tell you, and this is an ongoing process, never going to be ending. And then the point that our becoming is going to be done is when we are no longer, when we are dead. So then this becoming is something that we cultivate ourselves as human beings. We grow up, we learn, we change. The places that we are being, the things we read, the people we interact, the events that happen to us, the wars that we face, the traumas that happen, the fantastic things that happen, makes us grow out of that shell to the new version of ourselves. And this actually is a continuing position. So then when you experience, that's my question, that's my departure point, right, writing this book, when you are experiencing such a drastic, I think it's the war, if you aren't dead and if you live through it, is one of the most excruciating experiences a person can have as a human being. And the next one is to be seeing the destruction of your home and seeing the people dying and then leaving home. So then you are never the same again. So then you're becoming of the person that you are is going to be changing quite drastically and fast. In fast motion. And then we do really need to be understanding it, because there is a lot of different ways of moving out of our countries or having sort of traumatic things happening to us, but this is something that we can observe, right? It's a very concretely observable thing, and it's happening to a considerable number of people in today's world, as the number of wars are unfortunately, instead of decreasing in 21st century, yet again increasing, right? So that because of that, we do really need to be understanding the becoming of these considerable number of populations, which also have a lot of interactions within their own communities and the receiving communities, and then they have children, and the next generations have intergenerational traumas or passing the experiences to others. So we do really need to be concerned about all of that. That is my reason of being interested to refugee experiences, to understanding I'm hoping is going to be helping us, right? Not repeating these. I don't know if it is possible or not. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, and turn on the bell for the next videos. See you soon.